Alrighty then, today's a video that's basically a please Riot, and for everyone's sake, it's not a frustrated one like usual. I'm proposing some changes to the game systems to make it easier on the population and help them get better or at least expand their game. I have done this before, but these suggestions are different, so think of this as a sort of part 2. It's a lighter video today because I want to go visit my dad, but either way I was wanting to make this video anyways. My first suggestion is to rework the IP prices of champions in a way to help out newbies and lobies. I suggest lowering the IP cost of certain champions with very basic mechanics to the lowest possible IP price in order to make it easier for people to snag it up. I am aware that there are a handful of champions already at 450 IP, but if you look at them, you'll notice some of them have been reworked to a point where they're hilariously not new player friendly. Some champions like Xin Zhao, Wukong, Brand, Malphite, and Sona give the tools for newer players to learn and expand their strategies and responsibilities. Like I said, some of the current beginner champions have been made very complicated or difficult like Ryze, confusing for new players like Soraka, or straight up detrimental when played poorly like Poppy. Adding more champions to this roster would help rectify this. An alternative of this, although a bit crazier, is to give a fluctuating discount on champions that occupy unpopular roles. If mages become an unpopular role to play, then give a discount on mages to encourage people to try them and perhaps find a niche. Eventually, a newer, less popular role will surface, and so on. The cycle will continue. That, or simply give discounts on super unpopular champions to encourage people to try them out as well. Another suggestion is to implement milestones for the game. Think of them as achievements, which they pretty much are, except smaller and to a less intrusive scale, that do not force the player to screw with proper strategy or anything. Having something like co-op versus AI milestones that reward IP to a player, or perhaps a free beginner champion or even some runes, that involves practicing a vital skill rather than mindlessly murdering the AI, would encourage players to see how something could be rewarding. Imagine a milestone that is achieved by a player getting X amount of CS by 5 minutes, or the team taking Dragon before a certain time, or keeping an opponent locked down for X amount of time with chain CC. Basically adding little things like this to encourage a player to practice properly without them even noticing it. It could even be expanded upon to the actual game, although on a different scale to avoid tampering with the actual in-game. Every season a milestone could be to actually finish your placement matches, thus encouraging the person to try out ranked, putting more players into the system, and getting them intrigued to get a better rank. Another milestone IP bonus for getting 100 games in ranked, finishing a placement series, and so on and so forth. The possibilities are endless. Hell, you could even put some heroes behind milestones without restricting them being able to be purchased by IP to definitely encourage positive behavior and actually playing the game. The milestone system could affect many things positively, and as long as you do not encourage any potentially detrimental behavior, would have very little negative effects. This next suggestion just helps everyone and is a bit of consumer protection. If you guys remember, in part 1, I went on about this and how League has some very unfriendly consumer policies. Well, the refund system is one such a thing, and while it technically is something they didn't need to give us in the first place, we aren't really in a position to be able to make smart choices without external resources, and even then it's not at the level other games have offered. Still, a positive suggestion for this is to give more refund tokens to players on the basis of good behavior. If a player gets X number of reports, they are not eligible for a refund token. The rate at which these are handed out is completely up to Riot, although one a year would be pretty limiting. This policy would obviously encourage people to behave, although only if they really care about the refund token in the first place, and it would obviously reward players who had no problems with their behavior in the first place. Still though, a sandbox mode to test out champions before you buy them would still be a much better suggestion. My fans proposed this next one. Playing free-to-play champions should get you a discount on them. Let's say Wukong is free this week and you play him 10 games. You get a discount unlocked for him that increases with every 10 more games. Eventually, by the IP of having played the games and with the discounts, you are able to purchase Wukong faster than you normally would be able to. This system only rewards the players who are playing one champion extensively during a free week and are obviously enjoying the champion or are determined to obtain them. Either way, it is obvious that they'd miss a champion once the rotation cycles out and they can't play that champion anymore. The final suggestion is to lower the price of rune pages considerably. This one is actually insanely ridiculous considering they cost as much as a new champion. Sure, you could technically only use one rune page, but we all know how limiting that is in the long run. Here is a suggestion by fans as well. Make the price of rune pages dynamic. Perhaps the less pages a player has, the cheaper they cost, and it increases the more they have, eventually evening out around 6 pages, where it's where most players should be. I am pretty sure Riot won't just hand them out for free, although I strongly feel they should at this point, or even put them as a milestone option if it were to be implemented. This way though, the incremental cost of the rune pages would encourage players to buy the rune page bundles so they don't have to accumulate a massive cost, but would also meet Riot halfway in their desire to IP gate things. Either way, enjoy your Father's Day. If you don't have a father, then perhaps you have a daddy. And if you have neither, then just play Garen and roleplay being everyone's father figure in League. This channel is supported by my sponsors, Crunchyroll and Loot Crate. Check out the description below for links to the websites. Signing up for any trials, including Crunchyroll's free anime trial, greatly supports my channel. Also remember to give the video a like to support the channel and subscribe if you haven't yet. I've also made a Patreon now, and if you wish to support me through that medium, then I welcome it.